Discovery, go at throttle up.
science lessons learned in flight, journey on through endless night. For the stars, we aim so high. The projected kiss goodbye. For science and purple light, we'll keep flying through the light. Rocket launch with hope so grand. EJ's got the master plan. Thrusters burn to reach the moon. In his eye you see the tune. Orbit dreams won't be delayed. Lessons learned from missions made. Turbo time will forge a path to the stars beyond this path. For the stars, we aim so high. The projected kiss goodbye. For science and purple light, we'll keep flying through the light. Rocket launch with hope so grand. EJ's got the master plan. Thrusters burn to reach the moon. In his eye you see the tune. Keep flying through the light.
Space and Rocket Review. YouTube chat, tell your friends. Space and Rocket Review. Space and Rocket Review. Starting up right now. What's going on, everybody? I am EJ, your host of the Space and Rocket Review. Our
Discovery, go at throttle up.
weekday space review show thing where we talk about what's going on in the space flight industry. I'm the review guy. Flip up 41-month resub. How was dinner? It was good. It's good. 5x5. We read you loud and clear. Roger that. Space and Rocket Review. All right. Okay. So I have a couple of things here and there. The news cycle is not too big. We're not, I'm not going to say we're in a lull, but we're kind of in a lull right now. Especially, we're kind of between NASA administrators, et cetera, et cetera. So the action has been a little bit slow lately, but I do have some interesting things to talk to you about if you want, if you're interested. Yeah, Starbase has been really quiet. The news is basically all Starbase, man, at this point. Here we can bring in the live view here. Yeah, there it is. OLM is stacked, and the guys are doing more work there, man. Slick 6 deep dive. Yeah, that's what I did want to talk to you about. We'll talk more about what's going on in Starbase. I don't know if you guys noticed that wasn't there. This wasn't there yesterday. That was in fact not there yesterday. But we can talk more about that in a second. All right, so pop that up there. Pop that over here. Let's go to. What is this, W? Oh, neat. Okay, let's go to a tweet from Alex first. Actually, I think we should just talk about real quick. I'll get through some stuff. That's actually SpaceX stuff. So there were 2 launches last night. 2 Starlink missions. The second one, which actually it was early this morning. The second one here was a Starlink mission that launched out of the Cape. And it was booster 1067 flying right here. 1067 did, a little bit of waves out there. Booster 1067 did complete landing and landed out on the drone ship, completing its 28th mission. 28 missions. That booster has flown 28 times, which is pretty cool. That is the life leader. That's the life leader for SpaceX. I wanted to see it, but it ended up pushing into early morning, so I really wanted to get to sleep. Funny thing is, I didn't really sleep very well at all. So, that should have just stayed up. Would have been great. With the same Merlins, now we don't know that for sure. We don't know if it's been flying with the same engines, but it is the same booster. We don't know the state of which, like how many, if they've swapped engines out or not. The other thing is that SpaceX had a post the other day where they stated that they reused a fairing. A fairing has been flown 30 times, which is pretty crazy. We don't really have good info on what the serial numbers are for the fairings, but we know at least one of them has flown 30 times. The other booster that flew last night was booster 1088 on its 8th flight, I think, which is just a little baby. It's just a little baby booster. It's just a little baby. Hey, Chip, what's going on? 28 flights for one booster was unheard of even 10 years ago. So impressive. Yeah, absolutely. Do you mean Raptors? I think you said Merlins. Redbeard, are you referring to some version of Falcon 9 that has Merlin engines, that has Raptor engines on it? Because no, we're talking about Merlin engines. Never mind, I had to step away for a second. I was gonna say, dude, you nope, maybe not. So that's cool. SpaceX leading the way. Now, here's the thing. SpaceX has been launching a lot. There were 2 launches between the last time I streamed and now already, which is crazy. But SpaceX, as we know, got the lease on another pad out at Vandenberg Space Force Base a little while ago. That pad is the historic Space Launch Complex 6. Slick 6 is over here. Yeah, Slick for short. So Space Launch Complex 6 is right here. Okay. It is one of the bigger launch complexes at Vandenberg. It's gigantic, and you've probably never heard about it. But if you have, well, what I want to do is give a little bit of a history lesson about Slick 6 today. That's what I want to do for Space News. We're going to do a little bit of a dive here. Now, what prompted this entire thing is that if you look, Slick 6 has 2 mobile service buildings here. This is an assembly building that can roll over to the pad complex, and then a mobile service tower that can roll to the pad complex. And believe it or not, these 2 buildings can actually bunch up with each other and connect and form one hangar over the pad, which is actually super cool. It's a very interesting and unique kind of structure. Now, if you notice, there's another building over here that kind of lines up with the whole thing. We can get more into that later. But the reason why I wanted to bring this up in the first place is because of this tweet from Alex. So, SpaceX actually started to, as expected, SpaceX is going to do some changes to Slick 6 because they got the lease for it. SpaceX will modify Slick 6 to support Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy launches. Construction would take 18 months and would start in late 2025, depending on acquisition of the lease. Major construction and demolition activities would occur during approximately the first 12 months of construction. The remaining construction time would primarily involve construction and activation of infrastructure, such as fluid systems. 4 existing structures would be demolished: mobile service tower, mobile assembly shelter, fixed umbilical tower, and lift and pit crown. Mechanical shears would be used to cut the building sections into manageable sizes, and cranes would be utilized in order to assist with any heavy lifts of the structure. Explosives would be used to remove the mobile service tower, during which four approximately 50-pound explosive charges would be detonated simultaneously. This would cause in a short impulsive sound similar to these experienced during first stage landing events at Slick 4, but over a much smaller area. An excavator with a thumb attachment would be used to move the manageable pieces to a dump truck, which would haul out the material. The excavators and backhoes to be used would be track mounted. Any staging or temporary storage of materials would occur within areas that have been previously disturbed. Demolition work would occur during daylight hours. The duration of demolition activities may last up to 6 months. Under the proposed action, the DAF would authorize SpaceX to modify the HIF to support launch operations at Slick 6. The HIF is an existing hangar owned by ULA north of Slick 6 that was previously used for pre-flight processing of Delta 4. The Delta Assembly Facility, that's what it stands for, currently leases the land where the HIF is located to ULA. Modifications would include interior work and construction of an annex on the south side of the building. SpaceX would construct rails from the hangar to the launch pad to transport Falcon. And then here's a picture of this proposed action. There it is. So, hey Pat, what's going on? Once Starship starts deploying Starlinks, do you think SpaceX will keep Falcon flying Starlink missions? It will be a gradual handover. 1062. Yeah, gradual handover. No, good, Redbeard. So, getting rid of some of these, the mobile assembly shelter, the mobile service tower, digging a big hole, destroying the fixed service structure, and utilizing an existing flame trench. Now, a lot of people are kind of pissed about this. Now, why? Because, well, to be honest with you, these buildings have a lot of heritage here. The mobile service tower and the mobile assembly shelter. Now, why? Why do people not like that? Well, it seems like a lot of modification just to utilize one flame trench, to be honest with you. Maybe you should just dig another flame trench like over here or something. But I digress. Well, Slick 6 has a lot of pretty cool heritage here. So, we're going to go down the history of it, and I do have the wiki page open. I know most of the history, but I'll have it open to give you guys some pictures. Okay, so, Slick 6 was originally built for the Titan Gemini MOL program for the Air Force in the 60s. Now, ignore this picture. Ignore that part. Ignore that part. That part comes later. All right? So what it was originally built out as was an integration facility for a Titan rocket. If you notice, that will fit a Titan with a Gemini MOL. Now, what is Gemini MOL? Gemini Manned Orbiting Laboratory was a human space flight, a U.S. Air Force human space flight project from the early 1960s. Now, what does Gemini MOL do? What is that? Okay, what were they doing? Were they exploring? Well, it's the Air Force, so no. They were doing Earth observation. for the most part, you want to understand what Gemini MOL is. It's a Gemini module, right? With basically a space station module built behind it. Okay? Yeah, here we go. So, it's a Gemini module with a space station capsule basically behind it. And you go out through the bottom of the Gemini capsule, through the Gemini service module, into the space station. Right? That's basically the idea here. You would have in there, you would have fuel cells, and basically a space station module to stay up there for a good amount of time. Now, why? Why would you stay up there for a good amount of time? It's a spy satellite that has crew on board. It's a manned spy satellite. That's what Gemini MOL is. Okay? That's the nice way of saying it. It's got a spy satellite built into the back. So you have your pressurized compartment, that's your habitation module. You have people up front, and then the back part of it is a spy satellite. Because in the early 60s, having a remote control spy satellite wasn't a thing. That wasn't a thing. So the Air Force, what they wanted to do was station people on orbit, right? And have a spy satellite pointing down. Now, it's not a weapon system, so it'd be perfectly okay within the 1967 Outer Space Treaty. The Russians did have a counterpart program called Salyut. Or no, TKS, excuse me. TKS is what it's called. I mean, Salyut kind of. Almaz would be a better example. So, if you take a look, Slick 6 had a singular flame trench right here, and that mobile service tower. That mobile service tower was built in 1966. It is one of the oldest continual use service structures in the space program, period. Period. That's it. Pretty crazy, huh? So you would have had a singular flame trench here, and then you would have had your Titan rockets get, rolled up and staged right here. That'll look cool in your backyard. So you have to cut a hole in the heat shield for your crew tunnel. It's a hatch with heat shield on it. So Gemini MOL ended up being canceled. It ended up being canceled out even after a couple of test flights. That's out of Slick 40, I believe, which was an MOL test article with Gemini B attached to the top, which they did recover. They did get that capsule back. Dude, the Manned Orbiting Laboratory Computer Center. Oh, man. If I ever get, super awesome streaming money, I will build out a streaming studio that looks like this. Complete with weird, cloth chairs. Those chairs don't look comfortable. Those chairs are superbly comfortable. Okay? We'll build it out just like this. It'll look amazing. Complete with crappy false floor and crappy false ceiling. It looks great. It's fantastic. Anyway, so the Gemini MOL program ended up never happening. The reason why is, well, if we get down here. Cancellation. On the 20th of January, 1969, Nixon, sworn in as president, he instructed the director of the new Bureau of the Budget, Mr. Mayonnaise, Bob Mayonnaise, to find ways to cut defense spending. The MOL was an obvious target. An article in the Washington, how the Pentagon could save $9 billion. Up, here we go. Here's the start of it. And the start of that horse crap. We've heard this before. They basically canceled it and rolled over all the Air Force crewmen to the Apollo program. That's basically what happened. Let's see. McLucas wrote that canceling MOL saved the government $1.5 billion over the following 3 years. The National Reconnaissance Office received some of the savings, and an official with the non-NRO Defense Support Program said that MOL saved our butt. Following the cancellation, a committee was formed to handle the disposal of its asset, valued at $12.5 million, equivalent to $80 million in 2023. The acquisition and tracking system, mission development simulator, laboratory module simulator, and mission simulator were transferred to NASA by the end of '73, who did frick all with them. The MOL program office at the Pentagon closed on 15th February 1970. And the office in Los Angeles, 30th September 1970. Director of Space Systems, Brigadier General Allen, became the point of contact for contracts that were terminated with Aerojet, McDonnell Douglas, and United Technologies. But, they were open until 1973 because, canceling stuff that you've already made is a really good idea. That historically is shown to be a very good thing to do. So yeah, they rolled over everybody. They rolled over the Gemini MOL program into basically the astronauts into the astronaut corps. That's basically what happened. And from there, Slick 6 kind of stayed dormant. It stayed dormant basically throughout the 70s until the 80s rolled around. And this thing called the Space Shuttle came. So what the Air Force did, when the Space Shuttle program was proposed, it was proposed to replace all launch vehicles. So the Air Force was like, we can use the Space Shuttle to launch whatever. It's a fully reusable space plane. We don't have to make rockets all the time. We'll spend tons of cash. We'll save tons of cash with this reusable plane. We're going to get in on this, and we're going to kind of denote its design criteria to NASA because our budget's bigger. So we also need a West Coast launch site for this, to launch our spy satellites out of Vandenberg. So what they did was they took Slick 6, they took its existing infrastructure and modified it. They modified it a lot. They built it into a shuttle launch facility, which is basically kind of how it still stands to this day, but there's more to that. There's more to it than that, but if I go into my research folder here, and we go to shuttle research pictures, and we go kind of down here, they did build it out into a shuttle launch facility. And they actually ended up getting to a point where they stacked a shuttle on it. They stacked Enterprise on it. Pretty cool, huh? This new facility was basically, I think it was a really cool idea, and it was a really cool design because this was this facility that was specifically built to accommodate the shuttle system. Unlike Complex 39, where every single shuttle ended up launching from. Complex 39 was built for the Saturn V, and then the shuttle was adapted to it. This is what a shuttle launch facility would look like if you were building one from scratch, because that's basically what it is. The only piece that they reused was that Gemini MOL mobile service tower, because the shuttle stack was tall enough to fit inside of it, or short enough to fit inside of it. So, they added a lot of cool things. Instead of a rotating service structure like what you'd see at 39A and 39B, they added a PCR, payload changeout room, and an entire satellite preparation and construction facility basically right next to the launch pad. So, spy satellites were made. They were dropped off here. They were lifted up an elevator, loaded into the payload changeout room, which is essentially a gigantic clean room on wheels. And the PCR could roll right to the shuttle's payload bay. It'll attach to it, and they could load the satellite. Now, also, the really cool thing is that the payload changeout room could fit through the shuttle assembly building, the SAB for short. The SAB and the mobile service tower could actually come together and clamshell the entire stack. Now, how did it do that? Well, there's the mobile service tower right there. And they would actually end up building the stack inside of the SAB. I have pictures of it somewhere. Give me 1 second. There's a picture inside of the mobile service tower and the shuttle assembly building. They actually clamp up together and form a gigantic vehicle assembly building. But instead of building the shuttle on a mobile launcher inside of the VAB, like what they did at the Cape, they built the shuttle stack directly onto the pad. See? There's your tail service mast umbilicals. And the whole thing was built directly on top of its launch mount. Right there. There you go. There's a pad deluge test. That is with the shuttle assembly building backed off and the mobile service tower backed off. So you could simultaneously build and integrate a stack in here, and then you could roll the payload changeout room in, and you could integrate a payload to the shuttle stack without anybody ever seeing what was going on. And then when the stack is assembled, you could retract the PCR, and you could retract the SAB. Ooh, M16A1? Nice. And you have the mobile service tower to act for a final closeout for the shuttle. They also equipped slide wire baskets, crew access arm, crew access tower, crew gantry. The crew gantry didn't actually swing left to right. It actually just straight up retracted. It went forward and back. There's your crew ingress system, right room gantry, emergency egress system. All this was built and it was specialized for the space shuttle, which is super cool. I don't know how that got snuck in here, but it's still pretty neat. See, here's a bunch of sweet pictures of the only shuttle stack that was ever stacked at Vandenberg. So, what happened? Why did this never get used? Challenger. The pad was basically operable. They were doing pad deluge tests. The whole thing was good to go. They were getting ready for a flight in mid-1986, the first Department of Defense mission from the Department of Defense pad, which would have been STS-62A. And then Challenger happened in January 1986, and the Air Force got cold feet and pulled out of the program completely and abandoned their brand new $2 billion launch facility. Slick 6 stayed dormant after that, basically until the early 2000s. How much did it cost to build the facilities? $2 billion in the 80s. They built an entire shuttle launch complex, the whole thing. This was everything. There's your V-23 launch mount right there. It's basically an ML that's just cemented to the ground. Now, Slick 6, they also ended up digging more flame trenches for the thing. The Titan flame trench was just one bucket one diverter that went out to the side. With the shuttle, they put another one on the other side. They dug another one over here. One for each SRB, and then the 3 shuttle engines had a flame trench that actually diverted out 90 degrees to one side. See? If you look at this up close, the trench over here is slightly different than this trench over here, because this one is from the Gemini MOL program, and that was from the shuttle modifications. This one over here turns 90 degrees and diverts out the side. That's where the 3 main engine exhaust would come out from the shuttle. After the Air Force pulled out of the program, they just filled it in with concrete. No, they didn't. Yeah, Geek. They didn't even use it once. They just they put a mock-up on it, and we're like, yeah, that's good. It is really cool. I think this way could have kept a lot of the shuttle launch costs down, because this facility is a lot simpler. Quite frankly, it's a lot simpler than 39. Yep. See, there's the shuttle. There's the bucket for the trench for the shuttle. There's one for the left SRB. Or the right SRB and the left SRB right there. See that? So, the pad basically got abandoned after that. It was abandoned until the early 2000s. I even have the deluge tank diagrams, by the way. Yeah. And there's the shuttle's flame trench. Pretty cool, huh? I also have a lot of pictures of them constructing the facility. Payload changeout room, satellite servicing area, shuttle assembly building, fixed service structure, V-23 launch mount, mobile service tower. There's the deluge system we were talking about. Guys, this pad was operable. It was basically ready to go. Oh yeah, also all the road grading that they had to do. And mate-demate device setup at Vandenberg. Yep, there's the SRB refurbishment facility right there. They didn't just build out the pad. like I said, they graded all the roads. If you see how the road has a cut in it, this road has cuts in it all over the place to be able to handle a shuttle transporter moving the space shuttle down this road. If you follow this road, you'll get all the way over here to Lompoc Surf. There we go. And you look, you can see cuts. They put cuts in the road so the space shuttle could fit down it. See? They didn't widen the road, but they widened the cut, which is pretty cool. And you can follow that down here to this road right here, which brings the shuttle onto Vandenberg Air Force Base, or Space Force Base at this point. And then if you follow this road up, look, see, more cuts. More cuts in the soil to be able to fit the shuttle's wingspan. Like that. You go up here, you can see a road. They added this little turning thing here so they could turn it here because the shuttle transporter couldn't make that corner, so they radiused the corner. And then eventually, I won't bore you, but eventually that goes here to here, gets onto the ramp at Vandenberg, and if you look all the way over here, there's a specialized ramp here at Vandenberg where the mate-demate device would have been to pick it up and take it off the 747. Also, the shuttle could... Also, the entirety of Vandenberg... The runway at Vandenberg was extended to 15,000 feet. You could see it was only this. It was only a 9,000-foot runway originally. They extended it to 15,000 feet so it could accommodate a shuttle landing. So, Geek, it's not just... it's not just the pad. It's everything else. Also, they added a heavy dock down here for unloading the external tank. Another company uses that to unload fairings in first stages right now. See the fairings? Now, on top of all that, they added an SRB refurbishment facility here and railroad tracks to be able to get up here so the SRB segments could be delivered. See the railroad tracks? The railroad tracks go right into these facilities. These are the SRB refurbishment facilities that I was just showing you. This way. There you go. SRB processing and rotating processing and refurbishment facility. Now, the other cool thing is there's a little bit more of the infrastructure that was built for Slick 6 and the shuttle program operating out of Vandenberg. If you go all the way over here, basically down to Point Magoo, if you know the area. Actually, no, it's not Point Magoo. I think it's a little bit more... Oh, no. Is it? Let me take a look. Yes, it is. It is Point Magoo. This is Point... I'm not going to say that name right. Sorry, I'm not from Southern California. So if you go in here and take a look, there's also a gigantic building here. And if you look, there's a dock that just happens to be SRB shaped. 4-segment SRB shaped. This is where the solid rocket boosters would have been picked up, processed, safed in this facility, and then they would have been shipped back to Morton Thiokol on the tracks out in Ogden, Utah. There's an entire SRB processing facility there, an SRB rotating and processing facility up here, and of course, the SRB facility where they actually make them, right? So they did all this and then decided they weren't going to do it anymore. Which brings us to the 2000s for Slick 6. Okay? So they used it to launch some Athena rockets here and there for some testing purposes, which is kind of cool. Athena was used in the 90s. And then McDonnell Douglas, or Boeing and McDonnell Douglas would have been merged right there. Basically leased the pad to launch Delta IV Heavy. And Slick 6 actually finally got some freaking use. Delta IV Heavy was used at Slick 6 from basically the early 2000s to 2022, I think. Yep, there it is. And it did have a lot of Delta launches out of there in that time. Oh, it had 9. What? That's it? Just 9 launches? Well, I mean, at least something launched from it. Delta 4 did utilize a lot of the shuttle facilities, but they basically took the payload changeout room, they scrapped it. They kept the payload preparation room, they kept the SAB, they kept the mobile service tower, they kept the access tower, they took the slide wire baskets off, scrapped the crew access arm, scrapped the V-23 launch mount, scrapped the exhaust ducts and filled them in with concrete, and then just made it a double flame diverter on each side, and that's it. My wife's grandfather was stationed there during the construction and retired shortly before the Challenger incident. He was told about how the Air Force pulled out of the program. He did not have good words to say about any of that. Yeah, you've told me about that before, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I have some really awesome pictures of the shuttle being brought up the highway to, for Enterprise first integration at Slick 6. There's also a really nice K-20 and a really nice W-250 right there. And then a really cool hard body Nissan or a Hilux over there. Also an Econoline and an Astrovan. There's the PCR. PCR can move inside of the assembly building, dude. Isn't that cool? There's some really awesome shots of Enterprise getting integrated here. You guys want an additional addendum of funny information? Uh-oh. Guess who built that pad? But there's a picture of the pad basically fully finished. They were basically going to get, it was 3 or 4 months out from a mission, and then the Air Force said, no, we're not doing this. So, fast forward to now. What is SpaceX going to do with this facility? Well, SpaceX uses the SRB processing facility over here. They actually use that. I know a couple people that work there. A couple people that are longtime viewers of the stream work there. They use that facility to process their West Coast fleet of Falcon 9s for launch at Slick 4, which is pretty cool. Now, SpaceX basically plans, now with all that context added, SpaceX basically plans to tear out everything you see in this picture. Yeah. The only thing they're going to leave is the payload processing room, which proved to be a really, really good investment because that's what it's used for. They're going to get rid of the shuttle assembly facility, or shuttle assembly building, and they're going to get rid of that mobile service tower. Payload changeout room is, no, not the payload, this facility right here. The PCR is that structure that moves back in here. This is the payload preparation facility. That's owned by, yeah, L3 Harris. So SpaceX doesn't have the lease on that building. The SpaceX basically wants to get rid of the assembly building here, and they want to get rid of the service tower. They want to scrap both of them, and they want to scrap the fixed service structure here. Which, yeah. What they also want to do is get rid of the former left side SRB flame duct, and build a transporter erector, build their transporter erector hydraulics in there, and revert this pad to basically how it looked. They want to revert it to basically how it looked from Gemini MOL, only utilizing the former space shuttle. Over here would have been the space shuttle hangar. That would have been the Air Force equivalent of the orbiter processing facility. What they want to do is take the OPF, this former OPF, and make it into a HIF and then make a strong back with rails that basically follows this road. They want to basically rip up this flame trench, put hydraulics and GSE down in there for a transporter erector to take a TE vertical, and they want to rip out all of the Delta 4 launch mount that's in here. They want to rip out all of it, and they want to build basically a copy of 39A's 39A's transporter erector and launch frame right here, utilizing the original Titan flame trench. That is the oldest trench at Vandenberg. Well, not the oldest one at Vandenberg. That's the oldest part of this pad. That and the mobile service tower. Snackless, 72 months. There's 6 years. So, a lot of people are kind of annoyed by this, that they're going to get rid of these heritage buildings, but, you know, I can't. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little bummed, too. There's the payload changeout room. Oh, that's cool, man. I'm a little bummed that they do that. Oh, sweet truck, dude. Nice. I'm a little bummed that they would do that. But honestly, SpaceX has no use for this. They have no use for shuttle-era stuff here. They have no use for any of that. There's no point. So, actually, if you look at this picture, see the left side duct right here? That's wide enough for Falcon Heavy, because it was originally supposed to be wide enough for Titan. Go figure. Those trenches have no sound suppressor, correct? I actually have no idea. I knew they would have had it for the space shuttle, and that's about it. That's the V-23 launch mount. Like I said, this is just a mobile launcher platform, but missing the parts that the crawler transporter would pick up on because it's just cemented into the ground. Yep, there you go. Isn't Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy too big for these buildings? Yes. I did do a deep dive on trying to see why SpaceX would do, why they would build, why they would do this exactly. So this is their plans here. They basically want to build a transporter erector right away here with rails that lead to the original Titan flame trench. They don't need the mobile service tower. They don't need the mobile assembly shelter. And then they'll retool the pad for Falcon 9. They will utilize the existing deluge system, which is kind of cool. Hey, Alex, what's up, man? Yeah, I was doing a little bit of a deep dive into Slick 6, dude. I don't know how much you know about this, but yeah, there's a lot of really cool buildings, dude. And a lot of people are kind of bummed that they're getting rid of the SAB and the MST. But, you know, guys, I'll be honest with you. I would rather these buildings get scrapped than just have them sit there and rust away. We're right by the ocean. Stuff rusts. Okay? So a Slick 6's mobile service tower, mobile service structure slated to be demoed. That leaves Slick 3 as the only surviving MS mobile service tower at Vandenberg. Yep. Maybe SpaceX can get California to move the buildings to a museum site. I don't think these things have any use at a museum. And I'll be 100% honest with you, dudes. Why no West Coast Starship pad? Maybe they'll build one here. Who knows? Could they not use the facilities for vertical integration? That was always my thing. You could take that MST. That MST is tall enough for a Falcon Heavy, for vertically integrating Falcon Heavy, but not with Falcon Heavy's extended payload fairing that the Air Force wants. So, no. I mean, it is, but it is. Oh, the water tower is gone. Huh. Has that always been gone? It was there until 2009. Okay. That's I guess it doesn't, dude. Maybe we should actually use the $2 billion facility and letting it just sit. Geek, that's kind of where I'm at. It must have done a suborbital hop. Water towers can fly, you know. Yeah, it kind of sucks that, like, if you don't know why people are bummed out about this, it's because there's so much cool potential for Slick 6 to be a shuttle launch complex. But let's be real, that ship sailed a long time ago. Yeah, but it's some of the coolest freaking pictures, dude. Look at that thing. That would have been cool. They ended up never launching from it. And the first launch was an Athena rocket. There's what was left of the V-23 launch mount. And there's that water tower. It's just that they're bummed from the lost potential. Nothing against SpaceX. But yeah, I figured I'd give you guys some context as to why people love Slick 6 so much, because it is a really cool facility. It kind of represents what the shuttle program eventually could have been. Because this, I'm telling you guys, I'll stand by this, and, people can hate me for it, but this is a way better way of putting shuttle stacks together than what they were doing at Pad 39. Like, this is a way better way of doing it. I'm sorry. It is. You could do way more rapid launching with this style of launch complex. So it represents failure. Damn, dude, you don't gotta explain it like that. Jeez. Hey, there's the water tower. You think they'll make this complex human rated? Maybe. Geek, that's kind of where I'm at, dude. People are bummed that they're gonna do it. I mean, I'm curious now to see the replies from Alex's tweet. Hi, Alex, by the way. This is all part of a draft environmental impact statement of the upcoming changes of the Falcon 9 program at Vandenberg. SpaceX is expected to build new structures to accommodate Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy and landing pads. Oh, yummy, yummy. All right. Well, that's kind of cool. At least we get landing pads. I'm actually kind of curious what people are saying. What's the reasoning for expanding Falcon 9s? That's what Zach asked. More Starlink, more better. I'm surprised they're expanding Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy infrastructure. Perhaps it's not that soon. Kind of surprised SpaceX would ditch the mobile structures. Don't they have a pending demand for vertical integration from the Space Force? They're not sized for Falcon and they're quite old, so that makes sense to get rid of them. The best part is no part. Alex, you said the thing. So far, they've not have any payloads that need vertical integration, so no need to hurry to build a capability that might take years to be used. Man, when you say it like that, the Space Force sounds like they don't go very fast, dude. I do not support this course of action. The MST and the MAS are useful pieces of legacy infrastructure which have relevance to vertical payload integration on this site. SpaceX disagrees with you, man. That's Creeper. That's OP Creeper. That's the guy that gives me space news links. Okay. And we got down to the dumpster of the thread. Sweet. Yeah, fellas, SpaceX really doesn't have any use for these buildings. Now, I did do a deep dive a little while back of, like, SpaceX basically building a HIF right here. HIF and transporter erector, and sliding it through the MST, or the shuttle assembly building, and turning it vertical on the pad right here. And that would utilize the mobile service tower. And I was like, why the heck isn't SpaceX doing this? Well, okay, you really want to know? What we found from that deep dive, dudes, there's not enough space. There's not enough space. That's the honest truth. We took the 39A HIF and the 40 HIF and the Slick 4 HIF, and we... Oh. Test at McGregor. We took the size of the HIF and basically tried to, see what you need to place it here. Not only can you not fit one in here, you'd have to get rid of this building. You'd have to get rid of the assembly building anyway. Because if you rolled out of the HIF to the pad and then tried to turn the vehicle upright, it would get stuck on this. This can't move back far enough. Because you'd have to slide the SAB forward to accommodate the HIF. So the shuttle assembly building could only move till about here if you wanted to put a horizontal integration facility for Falcon here. Because you couldn't move the SAB far enough back, you couldn't turn the rocket upright to utilize that mobile service tower. Which kind of sucks, but yeah, long story short, can't fit one. It was designed, this is all designed for the shuttle. And a Falcon Heavy with its extended payload fairing is way taller than a shuttle stack. So, it ain't gonna happen. There's a link to the document in the second tweet if you want to go through that. I kinda do, my dude. I kinda do. Gracias, compadre. All right, let's see what we got here. I'm going right to the pictures, Alex. That's what I do. I go right for the picture. It's 200 pages. Oh my gosh. Okay. Lompoc. Yeah. Oh. Erlkin. Whoa. That is a very wide range of azimuths. That means Falcon Heavy or Falcon 9 could potentially do a retrograde out of Vandenberg. That's a really huge recovery area. I'm ready to start seeing more Starship infrastructure than Falcon 9. Oh, you wait till you see what they're cooking up down at Starbase, dude. I'll get to that in a second. Dude, SpaceX is going into overdrive, man. Yep, there it is. So you couldn't see the HIF. They're going to have to extend it, right? You couldn't fit it right there. That's the problem. And if you could, that would be super cool. To see a Falcon Heavy get like teed up and then the MST roll into it. Can you drop the link? Sure, man. Hey, Bree. Bree's here. Hold on. We'll go through more Slick 6 stuff in a second. What's up?
You know you can buy bad dirt.
Yeah?
I bought bad dirt.
How did you buy bad dirt?
Because I just went for the big bag of dirt. And I didn't stop and go, what are the reviews on this dirt? What is in this dirt? How does this dirt work? I just bought a big bag of dirt.
What do you mean it's not good?
It gets really bad reviews, and I shouldn't use it to plant my herb garden.
I'm sure we could find a use for this dirt.
Okay. I might go get new dirt then.
Get potting soil.
That said it was potting soil.
You don't need to raise your voice.
Sorry.
Get potting soil.
I just feel very stupid right now.
What? So you don't feel stupid. You paid the stupid tax. Okay? You paid the stupid tax. So what happens with the stupid tax? You pay the stupid tax and you learn something in return. What did we learn?
We learned to get not bad dirt.
Bingo. Stupid tax paid. You won't make that mistake again.
I won't. I paid
Stupid tax.
$14 to learn to get good dirt.
$14?
Go and throttle up.
I spent like $1,000 on car parts the other day, right?
Yeah, I know, but
the point that I'm trying to make is that I think that won't break the bank. I think we're good.
But it's not about. It's about the fact that I was like, it's just dirt. How could I possibly get wrong dirt? And then
Maybe you should just use it to prove people wrong.
no, I don't want to wait. I just bought $30 in herbs, and I don't want to wait. I don't want to kill them because of my bad dirt decision.
So go buy more dirt
I
then.
will, but the problem is the boy is outside, and I feel like I just let the boy. I just wanted to share with chat that today we learned you can buy bad dirt.
You could buy bad dirt.
I got Star Green. I just went to Lowe's and I picked the biggest bag and it's bad.
Can we get a dirt score? Yes, we'll give it a dirt score. This is Scott's Turf Builder, and it is the best dirt around that I can possibly find. And today, I'm going to put my face in it, and then I'm going to give it a dirt score. That's how big dirt gets you.
Reddit said they gave it they got a mite infection or something from the dirt. I guess it just has bad reviews, which I don't know. I just felt like I paid the stupid tax, and so I should pass it down to chat to know, hey, there's good dirt and bad dirt. I didn't know that dirt could scam me. I just went, it's dirt.
$14 for a bag, that's insane. I get 1 ton pickup load for almost the same amount. I don't think that's going to make Prima feel better about her decision, Prima. But, yeah, okay. Don't pay $14 for a big bag of dirt.
And Chad, it's not just based on the reviews. The whole reason I asked my gardening friends about it was because I was like, there's a lot of wood in this dirt, and that feels wrong. So... So I guess the boy's going back inside.
You need to be responsible and make sure that the dirt you get is free range and grass-fed and non-GMO dirt. And vegan. It has to be vegan. What else?
Vegan dirt? What?
Vegan dirt. Gluten-free dirt.
Okay, chap, I saw the wood. I see you saying, oh, some wood is fine. But I saw the wood, and I went, is my dirt okay? And I asked my gardening friends, and they were like, no, you gotta go get new dirt. So...
Boneless dirt. I mean, we do want boneless dirt. That's probably a good idea. Hey, Alucard, what's up? Caffeine-free dirt. Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna return the dirt. Because it was, okay, so I used it on my raspberry bush, because they were like, oh, that's fine, and I've already done that. But, also, they've decided you need to redo the mulch in the front yard next year. Yeah.
I need to redo that?
Yeah. I mean, I'll help you, but I guess our mulch is bad. It needs to be replaced. And we shouldn't have red mulch because it leaks dye into the soil, and it makes it hard for the plants to grow. What?
Nothing. I mutters response. It's mulch.
Well, it's also fading, so it needs to be replaced anyway. That's true, I didn't kill any herbs with it, so I didn't pay full stupid tax.
Okay. Wait, they dye the mulch? This is news to me, S-Master.
I don't know, Chad. They omega lol'd me when I was like, that might have red mulch. They were like, omega lol, after they told me my dirt was bad. And I trust them to know what they're talking about. So... I mean, I am like, what are we going to do with all this dirt? And there's a big hole in our backyard. So really...
Maybe you need new friends. You gotta get the dyes out of the mulch. It's not healthy. It's not healthy to put the dyes in the mulch. Sorry. Is it dirt? I eat dirt all the time.
I could go get dirt. I needed to come in and tell chat that there is good dirt and bad dirt because this was a learning experience for me. And I
Oh.
thought chat would appreciate it.
Actually, you know what? Speaking of dirt, the tree that we planted in clean fill, is it growing?
Is it?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
I don't know, but we could use it to put. We could put that dirt on that tree.
There you go.
All right.
Modern problems require modern
You're
solutions.
gonna have to do it. Because it's
What?
a big heavy bag.
We have a wheelbarrow.
It's a big heavy bag.
What's wrong with the dirt on the ground? Why do you need to buy dirt? Actually, all the dirt in the backyard, Geek, is fill. It's clean fill because they graded all the topsoil off and dumped it in the backyard with tree stumps. Soil back there is actually really good.
Yeah.
It's just the like, and the actual part of the backyard, it's not great. It's all clean fill. So it's not topsoil, guys. It's clean fill, which is you can't grow plants in clean fill because it doesn't have the microbes and the decaying plant matter that plants crave.
We're learning a lot about dirt this year.
I like dirt
I know. I'm just saying, like you.
and
learn-
grading.
All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna go back to the hardware store to get better dirt, and I'll plant my herb garden tomorrow. Woo! I have a new nursery for us, though. I can show it. We can go this weekend. I think I'll like it. What?
All right. A new nursery for plants?
Yeah.
Not the one that we go to? What's
No.
wrong with the one that we go to?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I don't buy the plants. That's your job.
Last year we went with your parents. Out by your parents.
Oh, yeah.
So we don't really have one that we go to, other than a big box nursery. What?
Nothing. This is just a dirt review. This is a dirt stream now.
The dirt stream.
This is dirt. This is dirt.
Yeah. So the one I went to today was really cool.
Is it the one that's that way?
Yeah.
Okay. I got you.
All right. Well,
Enjoy your crusade
my
quest.
dirt quest.
Your dirt quest crusade.
All right. Thanks, geek.
Dirtest vault.
Dirt is full. As a okay.
Dirtest vault.
All right. I'm leaving now.
All right. Bye.
I love you.
Love you too.
Can't believe this. Knew this was gonna happen. I knew it. I was like, I'm just gonna get the biggest bag, and then somebody's gonna tell me it's wrong. But I'm just gonna do it. Nobody else was buying the big dirt bag. I should have known. Should have known.
Okay. Bye. Don't buy the big dirt again. All right. Anyways, dirt and soil review. Landing pads. Look. We got landing pads. You guys know what your problem is? You know what your problem is? You're putting the Falcon on a pedestal, okay? Putting the Falcon on a pedestal. You realize she wants you to help her. I got the memo, Lisa. But that was, see, I understand Bremo code speak. That was, I need help doing this, but not right now, but I need help doing this, so please get it done expediently. So, in my mind, that just became tomorrow morning's job. Trust me, you live you live for a long enough time with somebody, you pick up on these things. It's one of those marriage things, all right? You know, there's coded speak. You know what I mean? There's code. There's code that guys are not entirely fluent in, but I'm learning. I've almost cracked the code. We'll get Nick Cage to crack the declaration of code dependence. Yeah, it's a hard language to pick up. Anyway, landing pads. All right. Crane storage, pedestal fluids, GSE bay. All right, so that is over here. Is that land like relatively flat? Yeah, it is. All right, cool. What's the dirt under those pads? Good dirt. So it seems like they'll do landing operations for like Falcon Heavy or anything over here. And then they'll take the Falcon 9s right here, and then they bring them right there and put them back in their home. I was gonna say this looks pretty sandy to me, but I'm not too well versed in the soil composition of this part of California. If I had to guess, this is probably clay with a lot of rock underneath it. Some rock coming to the surface right there, but Vandenberg is a sweet spot for launch pads, dude. It's beautiful. Like, pretty. EJ's Soil Tips. That's right. Just ask Yak? No. No, I'm good. There's also something else going on over there. I don't know. Quick, call up Rocket Sage. Rocket Sage. Almost all of Southern California is a giant sandbox. Yep. So that seems to be where they're looking to build their pads. And they're going to build a fire break up there that goes to N Road. Alternative concept. Ooh, I kind of like this one better. With the new HIF and the straight hanger. Alex, are you still out there in internet land? Why wouldn't they do this one over the other one? I hate sand. It's coarse, rough, and it gets everywhere. Is that current road in the way? Well, the other option basically has them building a brand new HIF right here and then just sipping it right in. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know why you would do that one over the other one, but I kind of like the other one better. The one with the straight crawler. I say crawler way. It's not really a crawler way, but saying TE way sounds stupid. Reading. All information absorbed. Yeah, see, that way's kind of cool, I guess. But the straight-on way, I think, is cooler. I wonder if there would be any proximity concerns between Slick 6's landing zones and Slick 8. It's not for Starship, it's for Falcon, Jim. SpaceX has the lease on Slick 6, and they're basically going to demolish all the existing infrastructure here and revert it to how it looked during the Titan program. This picture, no, not that picture. This one over here. No. Please hold. Jam. Yam. Right there. See how it has the single diverter? That's basically that's what Slick 6 is going to look like, dude. Only there's going to be a crawler way to a hangar, the old shuttle orbiter processing facilities over here. So it's just going to have a road right there and a hangar right there. I bet L3 moves out of the payload processing facility once Slick 6 becomes operational again. They'll have to frequently stop work to evacuate the building. Yeah. You like design too, don't you? Oh, yes, you do. Yeah. Yeah, it's basically going to look like that, dude. That's... I mean, that not even that's going to be there. That structure is going to... They're going to demolish that exact structure. And it's just going to be the payload processing facility, the duct, and then that's it. That's going to look so strange. Are you going to go to Starbase next week for the launch? Unfortunately, no, I'm not going to this one. It's too close to a wedding that I'm a part of. I can't go down there and, you know, if it scrubs or something, and it won't because I said this, I can't go down this time, but I'm covering it here. I have to stay local to me because of wedding. Weddings? Not really. Mr. Zorg wants to talk to you. Who? Mr. Zorg. EJ the Harbinger will grant safety to Flight 9. Yes. The reality is that you can't be seen as a curse on star... Yeah, I know. It's gonna work. It's gonna work, isn't it? It's gonna freaking work. And then I'm gonna be like, yeah, guys, I'm ready to go to Flight 10. And everyone's gonna be like, no, stay home. I'm gonna be like, but I want Starbase, man. But Jack's Land Rover is breaking. I told him I'll be down for Flight 10, which reminds me, we have an FCC permit for Flight 10 that starts on the 2nd of June. So if Flight 9 goes fine, Flight 10's going to be a lot quicker than you think. Oh, my hat! Oh, my hat! Oh, my hat! Sorry. Remember the passionate stream? Man, did I feel bad about that one. What if your home is down there? How would that affect your curse? Well, it's not. Jack lives down there. But what if it was? I don't know, Yarg. What if you live down there? Did you make Sawyer's off-road buggy? No. S-Master lives down there. Yeah. Yeah, he does. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that little bit of a deep dive into Slick 6. It's pretty good, right? Pretty cool. Yeah, I love the history, but you know, I'll be honest, dudes. In retrospect, if I could have anything with Slick 6, I would have it as a shuttle pad. But that's not a thing. So I'm just happy somebody's using it. I'm happy that someone is going to use it. Nothing kills me more than to see rocket launch facilities abandoned. Now, I know that seems like a far-fetched idea in this day and age. Abandoned launch pads? What are you talking about? We need more launch pads. We can't get enough. They have to build more. They used up all of them. Well, dude, when I was growing up, at the Cape, there were 4 launch pads active. 39A, 39B, Slick 41, and 37B, and that's it. That's it. Actually, I mean, 40 and 41 were for Titan. Slick 36 was for Atlas 3, 37B was for Delta, so 5. 6. Well, 36 was a twin pad launch complex, but you get the idea. There were not a lot of launch pads. Nowadays, you have 39A, 39B, 40, 41. What else do we have? Slick 36, well, LC 36 for Muglins. All right. The 37B has a lease for somebody. I don't know who it is. But all the pads on Missile Row are basically active at this point. All that was abandoned when I was growing up. Like, And maybe 10 launches a year, maybe. Like, see every one of these pads? These are all old Atlas missile and Titan missile testing pads. And Mercury Atlas. Every single one of them is used. Every single one of these is occupied. That pad is going to come, 37, Complex 37 is going to come up for lease from somebody. Actually, I think it's SpaceX, and I think they're going to put Starship there. Even LC-34, people are looking at leasing Complex 34 where Apollo 1 happened. All these pads are being used. Every single one of them. Moo. This is what you see here is what it looked like when I was growing up. There's nothing there. You want to see what it looks like now? Take a look. Whoop. Look at all the construction. There's LC-36 for Newglands. LC-11 is part of LC-36 now. Slick 36 used to be a twin pad launch complex. A and B used to be right there. And then there was LC-11 here. LC-11 got absorbed with Slick 36A and Slick 36B to form LC-36. That's what Blue wants to call it. Then there's 12. Then there's 13, which is Landing Zone 1. But LZ-1 is going to... The lease is up, and that's leased to Viaspace, I think. There's LC-14. Mercury Atlas launch pad, the Launch John Glenn, that's being leased out. All these pads, this one right there, LC-16, that's Relativity. They built a new HIF. We saw them building a new HIF here the other day. Like right there, they're building a new launch pad right there. Firefly has one of these for Terran R. Every single one of these is active. 14 is Stoke. There you go. So, we don't really know what's happening with Complex 12. But if you watch Tim Dodd's the Everyday Astronaut video, his interview with Jeff Bezos, part 2 specifically, when they're on top of the crew access tower at 36, there seems to be some indication that Blue is interested in this pad. Yeah. You need a dirt emote? Yeah, so that's what I mean, dude. Every single one of these pads is active. Every single one of them. There was 5 of them active at back in the day. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6. Right? Like that's it. But now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 37B is not active, but it does have an active lease, so I would count it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Potentially 34. 15 pads online, which is unfreaking believable, dude. 15 pads online, 3 rockets, and if you count if you count 39A, the Starship pad that they're building there, you count that too, 16. That's 16 launch pads online with different private customers. That's absurd. That's ridiculous. This is crazy to me. I love it. This is fantastic. 12 is definitely leased to Blorgen. 19 is unleased, if I recall correctly, and 15 was ABL, but I don't know what the story is. That's who I was forgetting. Coming up on EJ Soil and Dirt Review next week. 34 has a lessee lined up, Jim, believe it or not. I never thought that anyone would lease this pad ever again. But 34 is actually, guys, it's actually a pretty damn sizable complex, to be honest with you. Like, 34 is pretty big. I've been there. It's a big launch complex. You could put a pretty big pad here. Or 2. 20 is Firefly. Yeah, Firefly is right here. Is is it this one? So that's what old Slick 36 looked like. So 11, 12, 13, 14, and then 17, 18, 19, and 20. Or no, 16, 18, 19, and 20. 17 is over here. Complex 17 was a twin pad Delta 2 launch complex that's what it looks like now. It was that, but yeah, it is a hole in the ground. Have you heard the stories about pad 34? I've walked on pad 34, dude, most likely. Shouldn't they carve off the memorial? I don't know, dude. Oh yeah, that's right. Also LC-46, the Minotaur launch pad. That's right. 17 pads, dude. Up and running. That's pretty good, man. Pretty good. Pretty good. Every pad is basically online from 46 down here up to 39B. That's awesome. That's crazy, dude. I never thought I'd see it. Never thought I'd see the day. "34 has bad mojo. The last flight that launched from Complex 34 was 100% successful." I'm just saying. Surely 34 won't get reactivated. Think I've heard things. I've heard things. That's all I'm saying. I've heard things. I've heard that they have a lessee lined up. Can't say who or where. I'm sorry. I don't like being like, well, look what I know and you don't know. I've heard that they're going to lease it. I believe that actually that information you can find in the Space Force's plans for Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, their expansion plans. They said they had a lessee lined up for 34. I believe that's where I got that information. The Titan pads were 15, 16, 19, and 20. That's what it is, dude. It skips the numbers around. 18 is next to 17 is where Vanguard 1 launched. That's what it is, dude. Yeah. I always get those Titan pads confused. Have you heard anything about new pads? Yeah, I have. I was basically getting ready for Starship, so I had zoomed in on Starbase. Let's go back over here. Yeah, the Space Force wants to build new launch pads, and they want to build one right here. In between 37A and pad 40, they want to build another launch complex right here. Yeah, they could fit one right there. And then NASA has notional plans to build more pads up here, but I'll be surprised if that ever happens. Will there be a launch pad traffic jam? God, I hope so. They're going to have to reclaim land to get more capacity. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah, they want to build one over. They want to build another one over here. I don't know what for. And also at Vandenberg for new pads, there's potentially going to be a new Glen pad near Slick 3 named Slick 9. Yeah. Someone should use 48. I remember we saw that, NG. Yeah, there's like, they wanted to build new launch complexes like up the hill up here, right? I remember reading about that. I don't know how the heck they're going to build a launch complex up here, but that would be sick. Does KSC have any form of propellant infrastructure? Is it all trucked in, like Starbase? KSC has propellant infrastructure. They have 2 LOX plants. They're not on site. One of them is in Mims, if I'm remembering right, and the other one is right there. Yeah, see, that's an air separator. That's a big old LOX tank. They used to bring them in by train, but the railroad track, some guy decided to build the railroad track in an area that's prone to hurricane erosion. And then the railroad track decided it didn't want a railroad track anymore. I've talked about that before. Where the heck are you? There you are. Yeah. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have built that so close to the dunes. Just saying. Because, yeah. Yeah, beach erosion do be like that. I do believe some of it is still... Nope, never mind. They completely eradicated that. Okay, cool. Yep. I think the dunes weren't as close when they built it. Decades of hurricanes did that. Yeah. It really oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see, ready? Oh. There's mm-hmm. Yeah, there was more sand there 20 years ago. Yeah. Now there's not a lot. Hmm. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, see? Yeah. Uh-huh. I would love a modern version of the classic missile row picture with modern vehicles. You know the one? I do know the one. Yep. Camera 1, camera 2. Camera 1, camera 2. Probably just should have made train tracks go right next to the road, But, it's fine. Whatever. Mutter, you got something? Why so much sand going away? Hurricanes. Hurricanes do that. Oh, the California Coastal Commission. Yeah, they would be on Market Street. Okay. Slick 9 is just north of Slick 3E. Ah. Is it true that Florida is slowly disappearing underwater? No. No, it's not. It's just very susceptible to hurricane erosion because hurricanes hit Florida. The argument there, Crow, is that, if we put greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, right? it's going to create a warmer climate. Hurricanes really like warm air. Actually, warm water, to be very, very, very specific. They like warm water. They intensify in warm water. So the hurricanes, because we're heating up the planet slowly, the hurricanes are getting more intense, and they're eroding the shoreline, which, I mean, I don't know if you saw the pictures. That's pretty much what's going on there. Don't get me wrong. Florida ain't sinking. It's not going anywhere. Coastal erosion is absolutely a thing. Source: I live near a beach. Source: I live near a beach. Rising sea levels don't help. Rising sea levels is not going to do much in the short term, dude. To be 100% honest with you, I'd be more worried about hurricanes. The launch pads, all the launching infrastructure, dude, is probably about 15-20 feet above sea level. And the sea is not going to rise 15 to 20 feet in the next 100 years. It's absolutely not going to do that. Even if you're the biggest climate alarmist around, it's definitely not going to do that. Coastal erosion has always been a thing, though. Yeah. But did you see how much beach just got taken out, dude? Could be just it could be a bigger geological timescale, dude. I'm not ruling that out either, but are you flipping us off? No. So this is where they want to make Slick 9, huh? Okay. Got a nice open area right there. That's pretty neat. Yeah, Nick, there you go. A launch pad will be fine to rest the long term. That's that. Anyway, let's talk about Starship. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the Slick 6 dive. That was cool. Actually, before we get into Starship here, we do have some footage from ULA. They have some Project Kuiper rocket cam footage, so let's check that out.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Ignition and full thrust. 5 good SRBs. Hydraulic pressure at operational level. Vehicle has cleared the tower. Beginning pitch and roll programs. Engine operating parameters look good. Body rates
There you
look
go,
good.
Redbeard.
DU is now on closed loop control. Engaging first throttle segment. And we've completed our pitch program. Engine operating parameters continue to look good. And we've successfully completed our roll program. Hydraulics continue to operate nominally. Mach 1, Atlas 5 is now supersonic. Body rates continue to look good.
It's ice, Jacob.
Engine continues to operate as expected. Throttling back up. Good SRB.
Go kidnap Chris B for flight 10, please, or do we give that pleasure to
You're now 7 miles an hour.
it all to Ryan?
Moving at 17
Ryan lives a little
miles
bit closer
an hour.
to him than I do,
Now
outdoorsman.
passing 1 minute into flight. Vehicle continues to pass through the center of the rain track as expected. SRBs continue to operate nominally. Throttling down. Engine
Mutter, you
continues
got
to
the
burn as
soil
expected.
types for Vandenberg. Nice.
Body rates continue to look good. Vehicle is now 1/2 of its liftoff weight.
Cool.
Max Q passing through maximum dynamic pressure. Coming up on SRB burnout. And we have good indication of SRB burnout, 10 seconds from SRB jettison. Throttling back up.
Hello.
And we have good indication of jettison of all 5 SRBs. Engine continues to burn normally. We are now 32 miles in altitude, moving at 4,000 miles an hour. Coming up on 2 minutes into flight. Engine continues to operate as expected.
Cuttlefish and asparagus staging? No, there's no asparagus staging. They're solid.
Body
This
rate
is the vanilla paste staging.
Vehicle has gone to closed loop steering.
Are those SRBs recovered? No.
Booster engine continues to operate nominally.
Well, go get him, Pat.
2
Jeez.
minutes nominal BECO. Vehicle continues to move down the center of the range.
That looks
track.
like a very rich ratio.
It's
It's an
moving at
RD-180.
300
It's
miles
oxygen-rich stage combustion, so it's not fuel-rich.
Body rates continue to operate
No,
nominally.
it's the opposite of that, Skeleton.
And we are now holding acceleration at 2.5 Gs in preparation for payload fairing jettison. And we have activated the Centaur reaction control system. And we have
Oh, our
online
Delta V is
to
going
that
to be a
activity.
rot.
Vehicle is now 1/4 of its liftoff weight.
There it goes, the
And we have
fairing.
good indication of payload fairing jettison.
CFLR?
And good indication of CFLR deck jettison.
Sweet.
Engine continues to operate as expected. Body rates continue to operate. Body rates continue to look good.
Sad to see the RD-180 retiring. It's fine.
RD-180 is now throttling to
We got
maintain
the
its
E4s now,
3.4
dude.
G
We're good.
acceleration limit. We are now moving at 8,600 miles an hour and are 180 miles.
I'm getting to staging. Let's go.
Engine continues to operate nominally. And we've completed boost phase shield down as expected.
Whoa.
And we have good indication of booster engine cutoff.
Yeet!
And we have good indication of Centaur
Restart.
separation. Restart on fuel and locks. Good staging.
Oh, that's sick. Now they watch the gimbal will turn on.
Ignition and full thrust. Arlington is running nominally.
No, that's cool.
Steering has been enabled as expected. Engines are continuing to operate as expected.
Why did the nozzle move inside?
PU system has gone to fixed angles as expected. And we have begun
I'm not 100% sure why the nozzle moved away. If I had to guess, it's just
And
to
we
make sure that it
completely
clears
shield
the
down as
rigging
expected.
here for the vent line. That's my guess, Scully.
and we have good indication.
Which
of
is why
booster
they
engine
put a little
cutoff.
bit of flex hose on it. See, I think it's just there to move away to make sure that they don't tip this thing.
And we have good indication of booster engine cutoff.
Because watch, right when it separates out of the interstage, it zips back into place for pre-start.
And we have good indication of Centaur separation. Restart on fuel and locks. Good
Yeah, you
staging.
see it? Boing.
Ignition and full thrust. Arlington is running nominally.
How many Atlas launches are left? Do you
Steering has
know?
been enabled
About
as
16? 16, 17, somewhere
Engines
around
are
there.
continuing to operate as expected.
That's sick, dude.
PU system has gone to fixed angles as expected. And we have begun our 3-second duty cycling. We are now passing 5 minutes into flight. And we have good indication of main engine cutoff.
Oh, satellite
Arm
separation?
command sent.
Ah, yes.
Deploy command sent for set 1 of Kuiper satellite.
Yeah, this is a very clear picture. RL-10s are awesome. They are awesome, dude. Cool. 27 Project Kuiper satellites were on there.
And all
How did they
Kuiper
tune
satellites
gimbal
have been
control
deployed
without
successfully.
simulations before advanced computers?
Ignition and full thrust.
Well, how they used to do guidance systems on rockets, Sea Kraken was all a mechanical computer. It was a mechanical computer that was on board, a very rudimentary thing, basically like a CAL controller. And then once computers and transistors started being, well, not transistors, vacuum tubes started being a thing, what they used to do is have the rocket be radio controlled. Basically, they put the guidance system on the ground and, you know, use the antennas to get it to go into space. Yeah, because the computer was too big to put... The computer could give you more accuracy, but the computer was too big. It was too heavy to put on top of the rocket. That's the gift of Apollo. Apollo was the first one to put a digital flight computer on the vehicle instead of having it on the ground and beaming and basically having the computer controlling it remotely like you'd be controlling a RC car. That's how they used to do it. Now, I know what people are going to say, like, okay, what happens when it goes over the horizon? Well, those systems were developed for ICBMs, so you don't need to worry about that. The missile will still be in line of sight at engine cutoff, so you're good. From there, it's just timing, deploying the right things at the same time. Yeah, how did they do their simulations? I mean, a lot of hardware in the loop testing, dude. A lot of testing on the ground, where you could. And then flight data is king, and flight data is still king because we can't do a simulation with it 100% accuracy. We still can't get that done. It's really difficult to do.
Carlton is running nominally.
Yeah, baby.
And we have Nico 2.
There you go. Pretty sweet, dude. Yeah. The other thing, yeah, that's a good point, Spoiled. Back then, calculators was an actual job title. So was computer. Computer was a job title and not a thing. Give me 1 second, dudes. Predominant, I saw your message, man. Yikes. That's good, though, bud. That's good. If you're still here. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right. So, that's the Project Kuiper footage. Now on to Starship stuff. So, check this out. This was this morning. Headphone users. I'm turning the volume up. Headphone users. Headphone users, you have 10 seconds. You have 10 seconds to comply. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Dude. How about that, huh? So, this was footage from the Ship 35 static fire yesterday. SpaceX posted the footage. After the other static fire, SpaceX did not post a montage like this. But they posted a montage for this one, which tells me that the Ship 35 static fire met all of their objectives, whatever they may have been. That's good news. And oh my goodness, but yeah, there still is some fire getting trapped up there. See that? So I want to explain. See that fire up there? Especially after the engine's cut off, there's fire above the nozzles, all right? So that fire basically is part of the reason why Flight 7 and Flight 8 didn't go very well. There's this interesting thing that happened with rockets. So obviously you have the bottom of the vehicle up there, right? And then you have the bottom of the nozzle. On every rocket in this area here, you really, really, really need a thermal protection system down there. The reason why is because this area is basically in a vacuum. It's extremely low pressure. And because it's such low pressure, right, it basically sucks stuff up into it. It's a vacuum up in here, right? And that low pressure, because there's not a lot of gas up there, really can't absorb a lot of heat. So that heat has to go somewhere. Where does it go? It goes into the vehicle. There's a lot of heat soak that happens down here because that energy has to go somewhere. And if it can't be convected because you have such low pressure up here, even sitting down at sea level, right? It's going to get very, very hot up here. That and Raptors, I guess, have been leaking a little bit as well. So controlling your thermal protection up here, like having good thermal protection systems up at the bottom of the vehicle, like here, like how the bottom of Falcon 9 is very, very dark because it's got a lot of thermal protection built up down the bottom of the vehicle because the same thing happens, right? There is a little bit of fire that happens, and that's something that, you know, SpaceX has to look out for, because those fires that happen down there are the reason why Flight 7 and Flight 8 lost their engines. I know what people are going to say. Well, wasn't it because of the harmonic resonance? Wasn't it because of the harmonic resonance? The harmonic resonance causes a fuel leak, and the fuel leak finds that heat and it sets itself on fire and basically flamethrowers the back of the vehicle more than it's already being flamethrowered. That's why, you know, SpaceX posted this, so there is a little bit of fire happening up there, but it's not a lot, which is good. That's a good thing. It shouldn't have any oxygen to burn by the time of staging. Other things can become oxidizer if the conditions are right. Flight 2 also, when they vented the LOX line into already rear end that's on fire. Yeah, so Fish, the other thing is that LOX can leak too. Yeah, they are leaking. It's pretty obvious. Have you watched the most recent CSI Starbase? It's all about the recent failures. No, I have not. It's not Pogo, guys. It's our harmonic oscillation. Pogo oscillations are a little bit of a different thing, but Pogo oscillations are a type of harmonic oscillation. But I want to say something. SLS Shuttle, Saturn V all exhibited this phenomenon to a degree, though usually at altitude, not at sea level. Radiant heat flowing and flow recirculation do a number on the bottom of the vehicle. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, that happens all the time. It was very prevalent on the bottom of the external tank during the shuttle program. The bottom of the ET gets squashed here, or it gets cooked. Take a peek. Let's do a quick Google search of external tank in space. So this is a picture from one of the later shuttle missions here. Look at the bottom of the tank. Same thing. Now, that is just because heat gets trapped up here and it's basically burning the spray-on foam insulation. That's not because of a leak, per se. Okay? This happens, but the leaks are compounding this effect, which is not great. Crap, I missed another worker's tree. Please tell me you got secret, please. I did. Yeah, you look at any picture of the ET. Check this out. Here's an even higher res version. Look at the bottom of that thing. Totally cooked. Don't worry, you know, like probably about 45 minutes after this picture was taken, the entire external tank went up because it re-entered, but the issue is that holding the vehicle down changes the harmonics and vibrations, making them harder to solve. Bingo. Bingo. That's the big thing with these static fires. It's not giving you the biggest conclusive data, Mutter. That's right. The Massey's test stand, this thing is basically, this stand down here is basically a big tuning fork. You'd be surprised how much stuff like that makes a difference. This thing had an oscillations problem too. The SRBs create very violent oscillations when they put them on the test stand at the early parts of the shuttle program. And then they put two of them together and attach them with a huge metal rod that goes through the external tank, the forward attachment truss on the ET. Two SRBs with an attachment truss at the top holding them together turns it into a gigantic tuning fork, and the harmonic oscillations from the SRBs actually cancel each other out. Yeah, weird, right? Yeah, I got that right from a guy that worked on that, a guy that helped solve that problem, by the way, just in case you were wondering. So why don't they just use some old school hops? That's not going to solve the problem, dude. I'm telling you guys, unless you want to make a very specially designed test stand that's designed for long duration burn on Starship that can give you the harmonic oscillations that you're looking for. So basically, an entire test stand that's on a big shock absorber, right? You're not going to get good data. The best test stand is to fly the thing to solve this problem. I always hated the new vacuum engine downcomers. What's wrong with them, dude? What about the booster vibration? Launching it is the only way. Agreed. What's wrong with the split downcomer design? I don't think there's any problem with it. I think that design is designed for Raptor 3, if you really want my honest opinion. Everything that SpaceX has done to try and fix these problems here have been really kind of band-aid fixes. And that, I've said it once, I'll say it again. That tells me whenever the SpaceX does band-aid fixes, like, oh, I don't know, an SN9 using helium as your ullage because your autogenous pressurization doesn't work, and then having helium ingestion on your Raptors crash the ship during landing, right? Everything tells me that when SpaceX is doing band-aids, that means the true fix is coming down the pipeline, but it hasn't been implemented yet because of basically production line efficiency. So what you're saying is that Ares 1 should have had 2 3-section SRBs instead of 1 5-segment. Actually, Sea Kraken, they encountered the nasty vibrations on Ares 1, on Ares 1X. Well, they knew about the vibrations, and they, with Ares 1X, they encountered them. Their solution was to put a gigantic shock absorber in Ares 1's inner stage to solve this problem. Big shock absorber. It never happened, but I still think Ares 1 is a good design. I really don't care what anybody thinks. It's a really good design. Could have been an amazing launch vehicle. Seriously, you gonna tell me if you mass produce those SRBs that would be an expensive launch vehicle to launch? Absolutely not. You can see the shaking on the Flight 7 and the Flight 8 aft cams. You can. There's actually a lot of issues with 4 independent downcomers. One exceptional one is how much it contributes to pogo oscillations. I feel like the CSI Starbase would be really useful. The Saturn V got away with it. Just saying. There are people who like Ares 1 and people who are wrong. There are people who make stupid slogans like that, and there are people who are right. Ares 1's awesome. Dude, if you took Ares 1 and you mass produce those things, you could be as cost effective as Falcon 9. Remember, you get your casings back. And I know what people are going to say. There's no way the casings would have been... There's no way you would have made that work. There's no way that... You sure about that? Remember, recovering your SRB casings aren't there to save costs on reuse. They're there to save costs on manufacturing casings. Because casings take a long time to make. So if you find a way to reuse them and you incorporate it in mass, it becomes cost effective. SpaceX has used that same exact logic to make fairing reuse. Fairing reuse doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense from a cost standpoint. That makes no sense. Fairings don't cost a lot. But if you want to fly a lot, it behooves you to reuse your fairings, don't you think? So you can fly more. So cost is saved with higher flight frequency. Does that make sense? You talk about, oh, you're on the side of Ares 1. Okay, cool. All right. I see what you're trying to say. Ares 1's awesome, man. If NASA had made a lot of those things, would have been fine. Or, oh, I don't know, have commonality between Ares 1 and Ares 5? That would have worked. Oh, wait, that's what they wanted to do. Oh, that's weird. Sorry, Taco. I didn't mean to hit you with the proverbial streamer sword. My fault. Friendly fire, my bad. How far did you get with the trunk today? I played workers, dude. I needed a break. Believe it or not, I've been wrenching. I've wrenched every day for a week straight, except for Sunday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Saturday I was working on a customer's car, and then Monday, I streamed. I wrenched 7 days straight, which is. I'm embarrassed to say this, but it's a lot of physical exertion, and I'm actually sore and tired. Which means we got to do it more, so we can get it. It's all about those gains, dude. We'll get back to it tomorrow, man. Saturn V almost didn't get away with it. He covers that in depth, putting parallels to Starship. Yeah, but the harmonic oscillations that SpaceX has encountered are not pogo oscillations. Zach must know that. I know that he knows that. Could you imagine Hermes reappearing with the next Arion? That's up to you guys to manifest that. I think that would be great, Alucard. I still hate big SRBs, mind you. They're less safe and you can't shut them down or throttle. Ethereal, I never really understood your rationale behind that. SRBs have safely, might I add, moved more people to space than any other rocket engine. I'm sorry, like... I am Zach the Second, and I say Pogo is a contribution to the problem. I'd believe it, but the way SpaceX described it, they didn't describe it as Pogo oscillations. They described it as lateral oscillations, which is not Pogo. You're talking about two different axes here. Pogo oscillations are a harmonic oscillation, though. So, I'll explain. On the Saturn V, they had trouble maintaining combustion chamber pressure inside of the F1 because it's such a big engine. I mean, there are other reasons. Long story short, the thrust on the F1 engine fluctuated just up and down, maybe with a couple hundred pounds of thrust or something. It's not a lot. But you have 5 of them kind of oscillating back and forth, all changing their thrust just very, 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 very subtly. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the way up, that caused Saturn V to basically pogo like this, like a pogo stick. The whole thing basically compressed and decompressed and compressed and decompressed, compressed and decompressed. And Apollo 4 and Apollo 6 encountered this, and Apollo 4 almost exploded. Apollo 6 was even worse. They barely made it. That's absolutely right. Because these pogo oscillations were causing such big problems. Now, their solution to that problem was basically baffling the injector plate in the F1 engine to give you basically better laminar. It's not laminar flow. That's not what it's called. Basically better flow through the combustion chamber. And the baffling on the injector plate fixed that problem. Because it basically was not a control surface, but a fin inside of the injector plate that caused the gases to shoot off in one direction and keep them going in that one direction, right, to fix that problem. Now, once again, pogo is an oscillation that's like this. That's pogo. It's up and down, right? Remember that. Now, what Starship is, the problem that Starship is doing is this. Particularly the downcomer pipes are doing that. They're doing this. They're shaking left to right. And that shaking left to right is causing leaks. If they're shaking like this. Keep in mind, both this and this are harmonic oscillations. But what's potentially happening to Starship is not pogo oscillation. Those are different. They say harmonic response. It's pogo, but sideways. Yeah, that's right. Where did they say lateral? I don't remember. Take a look, see what we can find. Oh, that's the Guitar Hero company. I did not spell that right. No. You got it, 1,000? Give me one sec. Most probable root cause of the loss of ship was identified as a harmonic response several times stronger in flight than it had been seen during... Yeah, okay, it is harmonic response. Seen during testing, which led to increased stress on the hardware and the propulsion system. Subsequent propellant leaks exceeded the venting capability of the ship's attic area and sustained fires. Yeah, so they... Okay, so they don't really say. It could be either one. Do you live next to a highway? No, that's Starbase Live, dude. I have Starbase Live audio on in the background. I just shut it off, if you're wondering. I just like having the background noise, because I did grow up next to a highway, if you really want to know. Did that. They should just take the payload penalty and beef up the ship purging system. I mean, maybe, Zach. Skillshot, it's Webby, by the way. This is an old name from years ago. Oh, hey, Ryan. What's up, dude? Yeah, so, okay. They say a harmonic response several times stronger in flight than seen during testing. Yeah, that could be pogo. It's possible, guys. It's possible, but I could have sworn we went over this, and I could have sworn we saw it somewhere that it was lateral oscillations and not pogo oscillations. I'm unless it was another vehicle. I'm positive that we, like, right after Flight 7 happened, we had a whole conversation about this, which is interesting because I originally said, like, this could be pogo. It's pogo oscillations. It could be similar to the Saturn V. Everyone's like, no, it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same. Like, I was pretty damn sure. I mean, I'd like to go find that VOD, but hey, whatever. Look at the IFT-8 flight data. The acceleration is jittery. Actually, all the flights do this, especially the later stages of flight. Okay, Zach, I got a question. How do we know that's not bad telemetry? Like, honest to God, like, I'm just asking. I'm not trying to be a dick. Like, how do we know, dude?
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Yeah, it looks like that guy has a cat on his computer. Yeah, I got it. We're over the target. How about it could be both types? Multi-axial oscillations. Ooh. This is a PDF that we had to study in university. Check from page 22 and go down. Okay. Evades flight so far, and we can average out what the typical noise and accuracy of the telemetry is. Although there's still uncertainty, still 100%. Yeah, we're not totally sure. Could be telemetry, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're using that, if we could verify that the telemetry is good, I believe you, dude. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Page 20. What the? Feedline dynamics are of primary importance to the pogo system. The feedline design in Figure 4 was idealized as illustrated in Figure 5 because of the potential interaction of the lateral runs with the structure. Primary consideration was given to maintaining the effective lateral run mass and the total system mass. Only one of the two LOX lines were modeled due to symmetry. A detailed fluid dynamic model was developed of the feedline segments. The feedline model reflects the inertia and compliant characteristics of the fluid and the radial compliance of the line. Oh my goodness. Hi, Pogo. He covers both types of oscillations in a deep dive. While it is speculation, there is considerable evidence that Pogo would be a problem that rears its head specifically because of the plumbing update. Yeah, I mean, well, Aqualex, I can't... You said that 3 times now, and I've read it 3 times, but I haven't responded, so this is weird now. I can't watch the video right now. I'm not going to go just restream Zach's video, so I'll watch it on my own time, and we'll use stuff that I can actually, you know, learn with here and use to teach. The model does not include the inertial or compliant properties of the line itself, which are negligible compared with the structure to which it's attached. A compatibility relationship is used to couple the segments. The equations are transformed to relative modal coordinates. An asymmetric equation form is adopted because of its facilities coupling and because it facilitates coupling and provides pressures as explicit state variables. The form of the latest coordinate is changed to engine weight flow to facilitate coupling to the engine. Oh my goodness. If this is Pogo, this is the worst case ever seen, resulting in any ship to blow up. Wowzers. Ugh. What the funkin' waggles is this? What? Oh, why would you design the line like that? What are you doing? How much capacitive directance is there? It depends on the amount of prefamulated amulite. Bro, writing out mathematical simulation. What? You know what, man? There's people out there that are way smarter than us, huh? That design was crazy. That's the flyback. That's that flyback shuttle thingamajigger. What the hell are you gonna do with this? What are you gonna do with that? Also, a system I've seen that deals with Pogo are balloon-like values which expand with increased pressure and vice versa to cancel out Pogo to a significant amount. Balloon-like values. A system I've seen that deals with... Interesting. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, like, now I'm not so sure if they are. I mean, there is a difference between lateral oscillations and pogo. That's different axis. But if Starship is experiencing pogo, we got a big problem. I don't mean to. Like, there's no real better way to say that. You got a little bit of an issue. That's gonna be hard to solve. I mean, there's see, like, there's different ways to solve the different problems. Like, if pogo is what's going on, then that's a little bit of a more difficult problem to solve, because dealing with this kind of vibration on the longitudinal axis as opposed to sideways is way that's tough to solve. Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, what would be the best way to do that. Flexi tubes. It's definitely experiencing intense vibrations regardless of what the issue is. Yeah, I mean, Zach, my mind is defaulting to redesigning your thrust structure at that point. But I'm pretty sure they don't want to do that. I'm pretty sure this is a redesigned thrust structure. So what I would do is redesign the thrust structure in a way to induce passive damping of vibrations. Very similar. Very similar to what happened with the shuttle. Like, I don't know if you know about that. The space shuttle had a truss segment that went through the inner tank on the external stage, or on the external tank. I have a picture of it. Give me 1 second. There it is. See, the SRB forward attachment points on the space shuttle are between your LOX tank and your hydrogen tank. And because the space shuttle is using hydrolox propellants, the high temperature delta between liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen means that you wouldn't want to be afforded a common bulkhead. So they went with an intertank design. In between each tank, there is a gigantic truss structure that connects the forward SRB attachment points. And that basically carries the load of the entire vehicle during up to SRB separation, right? This thing acted like a gigantic tuning fork that actually caused the SRB's oscillations to cancel each other out. Now, SRB oscillations and pogo oscillations are a little bit different. What I'm suggesting is that you could make a thrust structure and you could do the simulations on your thrust structure to be able to dampen out the oscillations in any axis if you went and redesigned it. I know you could do that. There's a good example of that exact thing happening right there. Also, the reason pogo's brought up is the sea level downcomers and the vacuum downcomers are now essentially the same length, meaning that all hypothetical pogo events would be synced. Yuck. Yucky. In my simple brain, I think they should put a crap ton of bracing to hold the pipes. So, Trey, that's why that problem is hard to solve. Putting a brace here and here is not going to stop this from happening, because the braces are just going to do it too. That's what I'm talking about. This is a really difficult problem to solve if they're getting longitudinal oscillations on the vehicle. Oh, great, you put a brace here and brace here. Great, that's fine if you're trying to prevent it from going this way. But if pogo is happening, the pipes are doing this because of the vibrations. They're doing that. It's longitudinal, right? So putting a brace here and brace here is just going to do this. It's just going to give you, one, you're losing a ton of mass by adding all that bracing in there because your bracing has to be stainless. You wouldn't want to use a differential metal in there, right? Because then you're getting into metallurgical fun, which it'd be best to make it all 304L stainless, or 304XX, whatever SpaceX uses. Why not a vertical brace on the two ends of the stiffener rings, top and bottom? Plus, the down tubers are at an angle, if I remember right. I think they kind of... Zach, what do? They kind of go like this. They're not, like, out too much, but they kind of go down and then out. They are at an angle? Yeah, okay, cool. Cool. Guys, once again, I think it happening inside of the pipes, like, I would try to develop a thrust structure that passively dampens the system. That would require a lot of testing, a lot of simulation, let alone fabrication. Discord DMs. What's up, Mr. Baron? I have a delivery for a Baron. Check pages 78 and 79. Like, this is... Pogo is a really difficult problem to solve, man. Alright, what do we got here? Something like this, but against the pipe. I don't know how that... I don't understand how that's going to fix anything. Is it official about the NASA disengagement on Artemis? Or Cilio, that is a proposed budget. It's not approved by Congress, and frankly, in my opinion, I don't think it will be. It braces from contracting and expanding. Are you saying, Graham, just to strut the pipe? You're gonna do that for like 20 meters that way? That's a lot of extra bracing, don't you think? This is the problem here, guys. You guys got to remember, it's not just, oh, add more struts. It's not KSP. You know what I mean? Every strut that you add screws, and I mean screws, your payload mass completely. This has to do with mass fraction in the application of second stages, okay? The more mass you can, obviously, the more mass you can take off the vehicle, the better. Simplify, add lightness. That's a race car thing from Colin Chapman. If you know, you know. But that's the idea with rockets, right? The more dry mass you have on your second stage, the more your payload capacity gets absolutely boned. There is a simpler way to solve this problem. And it could be downcomer design. Personally, I think thrust structure. You're going to have to redesign the thrust structure for Raptor 3 anyway. Turn the thrust structure into a gigantic tuning fork. Just like they did with the shuttle, by accident. I mean, it's a little more complicated than that. That would require an insane amount of simulation work, but... Picture of the Block 2 tanks are in your Discord DMs. Oh, yeah? Oh, yes, Mr. Weber? Oh, very nice. Sweet. Man, dude, we got a bunch. We got like the who's who of tank watchers in here. This is dope. This is great. I'm having a good time. I will decline your cookies, you filthy, filthy cookie monster. No, I'll accept. This is off of Ring Watchers. Let's see what we got. What do we got? Yeah, yeah, this is a tough, yeah, we know this is a tough problem to solve. Same length. See last, what's up, Pop? I've heard speculations that the military complex uses all of its budget, even if it's counterproductive, so it doesn't get a lower budget next year. Do you think NASA does the same thing? To an extent, it depends on the project and project management, dude. Ryan, Zach, are we... Let me see the other things. Ugh. Yeah, that's... Oh, boy. I want to give credit. This is Ring Watchers. I just want to give credit for all pictures, man. I very much believe in that. It employs people regardless of if they are doing things. Having vacuum-jacketed fuel lines adds another layer of complexity. Yeah, where's that PDF? Major component in the Pogo accumulation pressurizing system is a 0.6 cubic foot hollow metal sphere accumulator, flange mounted on the low-pressure oxidizer duct. Yeah, I know that thing. The J2 has those too, if I'm remembering correctly. During engine operation, it's pressurized with GOX. The GOX, being a compliant medium in direct contact with liquid oxygen, is able to smooth the oxidizer flow by absorbing changes in pressure. Accumulator pressure is maintained by a constant flow of GOX through and out of the accumulator. The GOX comes from the heat exchanger coil, flows through the GOX control valve, and the accumulator exits through the bottom of the inverted standpipe. Reverts and returns to the vehicle system to be recondensed. Cubic feet. Oh, what's wrong? You don't. What? No. Let's measure it in cubic hands or bowling alleys, dude. Let's go with cubic bowling alleys. Anything but the metric system, dude. A restrictor in the GCV and restricted standpipe outlet establish the proper GOX pressure in the accumulator. The liquid gas interface location is established by the length of the standpipe, since if the liquid rises to block the gas exit holes, the gas pressure rises to block further incursion of liquid and drive it back down. Yeah, this is here. Hold on, let me show you. That is that thing, or nope. Hold up. That's the LPHTP. Oh, the accumulator's somewhere up there. It's somewhere in that web of fun. I've seen them before. I think it's right there. See the accumulator? It's a sphere. It's just a big metal sphere. It looks like a pressure vessel. That's the power head right there. Anyway. All right. Let me go back over to Ring Watchers. That's interesting, dude. Let me see. Just add one to Raptor /S. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it'd be good. Now, okay. So, Ryan, you talk to me here. You, Zach, you guys know a little bit more about this than I do at this point. So, my question is, why would they switch to this design? That's always been my question. Now, my prevailing theory is that that's really optimized for Raptor 3. I don't know how it would be optimized for Raptor 3, but that's what I'm thinking. Because why? Why do this? What is the advantage of doing a split downcomer system like that? What's your advantage? Why would you do this? This is way more complicated than that. And why would you vacuum jacket the lines? There's clearly a reason. Caution, no step. Yeah. I mean, you never know. It's Light Brew. Every no step sign is there for a reason. Remember that. On Saturn V and Titan, those accumulators were put on the stage itself, not on the engines. Interesting. Optimized flow for RVAC. They got good flow. They got a little too much, though. I think they got a little too much. Also, I watched your IFT streams. Really like the fact that you're actually informed and knew your stuff. I like this stuff, dude. That's what I do. Honestly, don't really know. However, vacuum jacketing the line limits the boil off significantly, especially for long duration. Yeah, that's your design there. Why do this? Why this? Why? That's more complicated. You know, that's more this is where my mind's going. Best part is no part, dude. Why make more parts? Right? Isn't the best part is no part? That's SpaceX's whole mantra. Why do that? There's a reason why they did this, and there's a reason why they're trying to solve this problem. Right? And there's a reason why they're sticking with it. I'm wondering what that reason is. Also, it looks like a water tower. I don't know why, but if it helps, I know Raptor vacuums consume more fuel. Simpler geometry makes it significantly easier to vacuum jack it. That's fair. Could you place the downcomers on different positions on the CH4 dome and the thrust puck to mitigate pogo? Define different positions. What are we talking about here? Better fuel flow to all the engines. Vacuum jacketing will help with the boil off the long-term missions. Yeah, Ryan. Okay, I got you, bro. Yeah, I mean... better fuel flow. So now my next question is... Dude, if you're getting pogo with this... where... And so the bottom of the thing is pushing up and down really, really fast on this. Fellas, okay, all right. I got another stupid EJ tangent here, okay? So think about this for a second, okay? If you're getting pogo oscillations here, right? And your lines, cast your mind back to some basic trig, okay? Your lines are at an angle. Say they're at 15 degrees canted in. They're probably not. They're probably more like 5, right? So let's just say 5, all right? Now, if we do, where the balls is cosine? Yeah, cosine 5. So if you get 0.996, so 99.6 of any force getting pushed up that thing is going to go up, which leads 0.4% of your force getting pushed up on this going sideways because they're angled at 5 degrees, right? I'm wondering, fellas, if you're getting pogo down here from these engines and it's pushing up and down on these lines, that pogo is going to induce sideways movement. Not a lot, but it is going to, because the lines are angled. If you had a straight up and down downcomer, then you just worry about this. But because you're at an angle, right? I dropped it. If you're at an angle and you push up and down, it goes to the side. See what I'm talking about? Pogo inherently involves head pressure, which doesn't care about the actual length. It's not about the length, it's the angle. Doesn't care about the angle. Physics cares about the angle, though. That has a lot to do with it. Pretty sure Block 3 has 6 vacuum in 3 sea level. That downcomer most likely would struggle with that many engines, so they're probably starting early with building dedicated lines. So, Zach, that's always been my thing, dude. They did it for a reason. SpaceX wouldn't add parts unless they had a very good reason, and I think the reason is coming down the pipe in their production. I think this is a production bottleneck problem. That's why you see induced mitigation with this, like the attic and the CO2 suppression system. It's a stopgap thing just to keep the flight rate up so they can get more flight data. But the true fix is coming down the road. That's my guess. Because, yeah, none of this makes sense. Why would you do that? Why would you switch to something that doesn't work and then keep doing it, right? Like, angling won't eliminate pogo is what I mean. No, you're absolutely right, Aqulux. But what I'm saying is, if you're getting pogo oscillations on an angled line, that's going to cause them to do this. They're going to push out. They're going to inherently want to bow out and come back and forth. They're going to be the whole thing. Probably, I bet you SpaceX has an internal camera looking at this, and I bet you the whole thing is doing this right before it explodes. Block 3 would be worse if they do 6 transfer tubes. Ask the engineers. Yeah, right? It's still a prototype after all. Bingo. Yep. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Good conversations. What if they straightened those pipes and had them welded along the tank wall? Would that help strengthen them? I mean, actually hired, yeah. I mean, yeah, it would. The only thing is you have way more mass with that. Because you have to angle the pipes out to the side, down, and then back in. But I mean, yeah. Yeah, I guess. I don't see why it wouldn't. But, so, okay. So this is their current system, right? Here, you know what? I'll draw it better. So you have the bottom right here, and then you have that, and then you have your main downcomer, right? And then you have the things coming off the sides, right? These are your tank walls right here. If you made these lines kind of elbow out and down like this, right? These bends, water doesn't like that. Or I shouldn't say water. Liquids don't like stuff like that. Water doesn't like turning. You'll hydraulic hammer the thing every time you, like more so than you already are. You'll hydraulic hammer the vehicle every time this happens, and it'll probably break something. Like, dude, even shutting off the engines with something like Starship is insanely violent. Like, the whole thing, like, just, it is an insane shock to the system. And I mean shock, in a very, like, actual sense of that term. It is very much a shock, like, because you're going from a crazy high flow rate to nothing instantaneously. I bet R3 is going to be part of the fix. I agree, Trey. Yep. This may not be useful information, but the failure point that is most likely is the downcomer connection points. Internal damage would probably result in boom. Yeah. I don't want to know what that noise was on SBL, but that was a noise. Raptor 2 doesn't care though. Can blow it up like what we saw on the tripod. I don't know what that bird was pissed. That bird was pissed. Did you hear that? He's like, get away from me. Particularly the connection points to the ship attic area. And Zach, that's what I'm talking about, dude. If you get pogo here at this point, right? That point is the point of transfer where your forces are going up and down, and because you're angled, because of a cosine loss of force, now you're getting lateral, which is probably why those things are snapping right there. I have a dumb solution to fix the problem that would make the vacuum jacketing like really, really complicated, but your connection point needs to be straight, and then your pipe needs to bend in, and then it needs to bend up at the top. So, like, instead of the downcomer being like that, make it like this. Nope. Smooth out the lines right there and right there. But, dude, who knows what kind of vibration and noodly mess that's going to do during launch, right? Maybe a better way to do it would be, like, that's what you have. A better way to do it would be to elbow the connection like that. You know, as best as you can. You could still get away with it, a small angle right there and right there. Because if you're getting up and down motion here, a corner like that is going to be much stronger to handle that vibration and actually dampen it out. There are ways that you can build passive damping structures into your vehicle. The shuttle did it. I'm telling you. Like, I think if I was working for SpaceX, that's what I would suggest. I think that's a good idea. Didn't the space shuttle have, like, shocks on the engine connections to dampen out things like pogo? It has the strut that connects the two SRBs together. That dampens out the oscillations. It dampens out any oscillations from the SRBs, which is crazy to me. They did it by accident. They were like, oh, that actually works. Sweet. What if you attach them to the vehicle skin? Check the fuel line coming up from the header tank in the nose. Yeah. Hired already suggested that. You're getting a huge impingement in flow by angling them like that, but it clearly does work. But you got to remember, guys, that works, and it works on other rockets, though. Other rockets ain't Starship with 6 full flow stage combustion cycle engines, Could put it on a linear rail. Why not just weld selective struts right on the outside of the downcomers? Bracing doesn't fix this problem, Graham. I think you're fundamentally misunderstanding the dynamics involved here. Bracing doesn't fix the vibration. The vibration doesn't come from the line, it comes from the engines acting on the line. Bracing the line is just going to ask for more explosions. You understand? Would coil pipes help? That would be my thing, Dons. They had problems like this with flow rate and vibration in pipes in the 60s, and they made ribbed tubing because of it. High five. You gotta put humans on it eventually. Pogo is very bad for humans. Yeah. Yes. This, you see, this kills the meat bag. Which is why I'm saying the geometry of the pipe should be changed, Graham, to make the pipe absorb the vibration. Because the vibration is going to be induced on the pipe anyway, so turn the pipe into a gigantic shock absorber. You can do it if you design it right. Yeah, it could be done. It would be a thing. For the rocket's pleasure. It's ribbed. Yep. Hey, Sewer Rat, what's going on? Have I missed our glorious yak? Yeah, I played a little bit earlier. That's adding mass to the design, Erudite. Current downcomer looks a lot like the Saturn V first stage. It does. So what if you, at the engine mount line, had a small piston-like tube that was sealed tight that used the vibration to push in and out, slightly damping it like a shock coil? That'll work, but you're adding mass. My solution is to just make the part the shock absorber, not add a shock absorber to part. Does the downcomer see pressure fluctuations? I don't think so. Are you going to watch the China launch? I don't cover Chinese launches here. Would having different length feed lines help? I'm reminded of exhaust headers with pipe lengths matched to the firing sequence. Exhaust headers are dealing with gas 1062, so that's more pneumatics than anything. We're talking about fluids here. This is fluid flow rate, so it's a little bit of a different ball game. Vanta, Elon is doing an all hands explaining the Mars game plan next week, and they will be streaming it. Oh, sweet. Cool. I will be watching it. Snapshot of Zach's video. Brian, what do we got? Yep. What a frickin' G, dude. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. New tweet from the memer? What's up with the memer? Hang on one second. Let me clear this all up. The guy's actually he's actually posting about space stuff? When did they start doing this? That's cool. You post about space stuff, man. Please. Please post more about the space stuff. Just before the Starship flight next week, I will give a company talk explaining the Mars game plan in Starbase, Texas. That will also be live streaming X. Nice! I love you! Hi, everyone. Elon Ma. I guess they're doing SpaceX now. Yep. It's an X video. No. No, no, no. No. No, it's not. No. No. Give me 1 second. Mars game plan. Well, I can't wait for it to be here. It's time to start thinking about it. I mean, especially if that becomes a national priority, right? Like, yeah, there you go. Yeah, Gorklon Rust is that's Elon. What's this? What the Is that the dance that it's going to do when it kills all humans or something? Like... all the humans are dead. Like... It's fork knife dancing. Work it. Make it. Do it. Makes us harder, better, faster, stronger, more than power, never, ever, after, copy, striking. The 600 series had a rubber skin. We could easily spot them. Ah, Kyle! That's just creepy, dude. I don't know how to feel about that. Nah, it'll do the floss. Yeah, dude, that thing is tap dancing. That's pretty nuts, dude. Domo, domo. Domo, domo. You watch this video of a dang good crane building operation. I don't know, man. It looks like the guy operating that crane has no idea what he's doing. There's your power packs. Spitman teas. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that dude knows what's up. Pretty sure. Like, see, he stacked them on top first. That's dumb. What an idiot. That's a lot of SPMTs, dude. What the heck you moving? Clouds. Clouds. Yeah, I know, right, Tessa? Jeez, looks like total amateur. Maybe, Trey. What is that metallic structure next to the telescoping part? That is an extension, a jib. You could put an extension on the end of the telescope. That is used if you need some luff for the crane. So, like, if this is the telescoping piece, that thing goes like up and over like this. It's an extension. It basically kind of like rotates into, well, not rotates into place, but you can attach it up here. It's a lot of SBMTs. Man, what a crap box Chevy over there. What a piece of junk. Wonder if that Chevy has transmission problems. So this is not on the engines. These accumulators aren't on the engines there. They're after. Pogo accumulation provides capacitance in the engine oxidizer system, which prevents low-frequency flow oscillations from affecting the combustion process. Yeah, this Pogo suppressor is there for a different reason, though. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, spark igniter. See that, guys? That's a $5 million spark plug. 60 RS-25 accumulator spheres. Yeah, they are. No, they are. Okay, so they are on the engine, dude. Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, that's sick, dude. Look at those welds. Those welds are very nice. Put it in a Ford Ranger. I'm pretty sure an RS-25 weighs more than a Ford Ranger. But I'm pretty sure that spark plug is more expensive than, like, the factory that makes Ford Rangers. Made Ford Rangers. Look at that freaking thing, dude. Yeah, it is. Okay, so Aqualex, I'm not going nuts. It is engine side. I knew it was. I knew the accumulator was. It's mangled in with this piping right here. That's cool. Right on. Check the last picture. We got a big print of that. What the? What are we looking at? What's this? Reburner valve. That's your valve design? That's what you did? Oh dear. It's a cammed pneumatic sequencing valve. Okay. Okay. Okay, okay. There's the avionics controller. This is the control system that we're talking about right there, the pogo accumulator. It's Boeing! That's, yep, that's a way to do that. Hey, that was, dude, that was like, this to the 1970s is what Raptor is to now. Just saying, like, this is the plumbing diagram for Space Shuttle main engine. So you have your LPOTP and then the the LFPTP, low pressure fuel turbo pump, and then low pressure oxidizer turbo pump that feed. There's the accumulator, the pogo accumulator, into the high pressure oxidizer turbo pump or the oxidizer power head. And then there's the high pressure fuel turbo pump that feed into your injector plate. That's absolutely insane. It's fluids. This is the fluid diagram. I could study this for days and then give up and hate myself. Yeah. Yeah. Page 42, wink wink. Oh. Nice. Oh, that injector dough. Plumbing and instrumentation diagram. There you go, Cyborg. Nice. Can you show that diagram that shows liquid oxygen and gaseous oxygen? Everybody? Huh? Send you something that you might like in highlights of it. F1 engine manual. Oh, nice, dude. Nice, nice. Guys, Starship could use something like this, but you got to remember this. This is to control pogo oscillations at the engine. That's not what's going on with Starship. That's something to take into account here. If you were going to use something like this, you would need a heat exchanger at the common bulkhead for going down the downcomers. That, I wouldn't do that way. Check page 69. Also nice. Yep, high pressure oxidizer, high pressure oxidizer turbo pump. Yep. Bruh. What the funkin' waggles? It looks like a half hydraulic, half pneumatic cylinder uses a sort of damper with a diaphragm separating the sides. Maybe. Who the hell thought of that? Oh my goodness. The only problem is we don't know actually where the leak is happening, so the fix will change wildly depending on where it's breaking. Yeah, it's all speculation, Spoiled. That's why I was like, how do you guys know for sure that it's Pogo? And how do I know, you know, like people said, well, how do you know it's lateral? I'm like, oh, it's just what I heard. I heard that from a dude. I heard that from a dude that played Kerbal once. Yeah. Only once? Well, just because you played it once doesn't mean you haven't played it twice. Sure, but does that dude work for Nintendo? No, my dad works for Nintendo. My dad works for Xbox Live. He's gonna get you banned. All right, guys. There is a couple more things. I mean, Ship 35 is back at the production site. This is a time lapse from Elisar off of Starbase Live. No, no, it's got a. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Ba 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 bum. Ba 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 bum. Ba 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 bum. Sorry. Throw your hands to the sky. Whoop, 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 whoop. Dude. Oh, that's sick. I mean, I've seen this up close, man, but it's still cool. Look at this. Look at this. Yep. I'm just gonna turn. Just don't mind me. I'm just turning my starship. That looks so goofy, dude. It looks so goofy. Did you see that shot? Hold up. Let's go back to this shot, though. That looks so weird. I'm sorry, that makes me laugh. Excuse me, I'm just moving my skyscraper around. Yep. Just taking my ship for a walk. Thoughts on Flight 9? Is Starship 2.0 still shaky? We were just talking about that, Supersonic. There's a lot of ways to solve the problem, but we don't know exactly what the problem is either. But if we think we know what the problem is, and if what we think we know what the problem is correct, then there's a lot of ways to solve it. And it is a solvable problem. It's just we're not sure if we know what the actual problem is. So we're not sure if our solution to the problem is right because we don't know what the problem is. But if the problem is what we think it is, it could be solvable. It should be solvable. Yep, the Dodge broke. Yep, hood's up. Typical. Hey, Moffat. Imagine a Starship Transporter rail line. I like trains. Do you like trains, Aqualux? I like trains. Thanks. Really curious about the level of internal changes they made with 2.0 that we don't know of. Say problem one more time. No. I don't want to. What kind of excavator we got here? A 470C. What is that, John Deere? Who makes the 470C excavator? You know what? No. Oh, it's a case. Case is all right. They make pretty good excavators. It's not bad. They need to add space industry to workers. Yeah. Wait, what was that dude doing? Hold on, back this up. What's that dude in the skid steer doing? Sorry. He's doing his best. Yeah, all right. Sorry, sir. Doing my best. Who made that minigunner? I did, sir. He's my cousin. And the other thing, guys, if you haven't seen it here, that
altitude pad 39A.
39A or no, be quiet. No. Wait, who was that talking?
Max here at the KSC. So obviously they are moving along a public highway.
Oh, it's Max. All right. It's just it's just Max. Okay. Just nothing value lost. It's fine. So 14-2 is moved out and stacked at the launch site, dudes. Remember when the ship fell over? When SN9 fell over in the high bay. Yep. Can you guys just tilt the camera up just a little bit? Damn, that thing is big. What are we looking at here? This is footage from last night. This is booster 14.2. Moving out to the launch site, and it's actually been stacked. See, 14-2 is already on the pad. We're just waiting for ship 35, dude. -2, not .2. Alright, what are you gonna do about it if I keep saying .2? What are you gonna say if I go in there and play the music anyway, huh? Stein, what are you gonna do about it? It's gonna be hard for you to watch the launch after I poke you in the eye. Ew, they use the y-axis. Oh, the X up. Yeah. Gross. Just casually moving a building down the road. I'm telling you, Fish. I saw that. I saw them move a booster. Actually, I saw them move booster 14 when it came in from its flight, and 15 for what it was worth. It changes you. Seeing this stuff up close, man, because you can actually look at it. You can see the stuff up close because you can pull over on the side of the road during, just watch the thing go by. Yeah, Starship ruined rockets. It ruined rockets for me, like, permanently. Like, it's on another level, dude. Must share it. You got a best street quarter mile. Drag radial spun to 45, and you still did a 4.1, 0 to 60. Quarter mile 11.8 at 122. It's pretty good. For spinning the tires, Doom. It's pretty good. 4 mile, 11.8 at 122, dude. Dude, you're into the tens if you don't spin those tires, dude. A little weave left and right. Gotta get your shocks dialed in, dude. Gotta get the shock absorbers dialed in, and you need some ladder bars. No, I don't think you got. I think you got that. I don't know. I still think New Glenn is pretty close to as cool as Starship Super Heavy. I don't mind New Glenn. New Glenn's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. It's not Starship, but it's still pretty damn neat. All right, guys. Well, we had some great conversations today. Good stuff about Pogo and whatnot. I have some homework to do. I'm gonna go watch Zach's video, I think. But that's gonna do it for Space News. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the Slick 6 deep dive. Pretty good stuff. That was a long Space News, dudes. I did not expect that Space News to end up being 3 hours, but here we are. I actually think I might skip after hours tonight to go watch the video. Is that bad? Should I do that? Or should we... Yes, it's bad. Skull DJ. Over already? That's bad indeed. Go watch it, I mean. Oh. I would highly recommend it. Last Andor episodes come out tonight. I gotta go. I gotta go. No, we do MSC tomorrow, guys. After Hours is happening tomorrow. We'll do Summer Car and then Space News and then Summer Car. Do we have launches tonight? When's the next launch? Okay. Starlink 6-67 is launching at noontime tomorrow. 12:38 p.m. Sweet. Cool. Thanks for the stream, though. Have fun with the dirt. What do you want? What do you want from me? What do you want from me? What do you want? You want me to play Red Dead? We can play Red Dead if you want. If you want to play some damn Red Dead, all you got to do is just ask. There's dirt in Red Dead Redemption. All right, fine. I broke the damn wheel again. All right, let's play Red Dead. All right, we're gonna jog the VOD over on the YouTube side. I'll see you guys for Red Dead in a couple of minutes. Don't go anywhere. Watch last. One more thing. The CubeSat for Artemis. Saudi Arabia is to fly a CubeSat aboard the Artemis 2 test flight. Neat. That's pretty cool. All right. I'll be back in a moment. Hope you guys enjoyed Space News. Stay tuned on the Twitch side of things for Red Dead. Just gonna lose a lot of sleep tonight because I'm gonna watch these videos anyway. All right, I'll be back in a second.